Okay, so moving on. I'm going to talk about change, and I'm looking at it from two dimensions. First, the dimension that I work on is I wear two hats. One is I work with companies to implement change, and I'm an international researcher and academic, so I also have some exposure to the latest international research in the field. So I'm going to kind of combine the two and talk about it. First, talk about 5 typical problems. These are not exhaustive, but these are talking about some of the problems when organizations encounter change. So one of the big and simple and obvious problems is that when a leader tells you how all of his people need to change. So the leader thinks everybody in the organization needs to change apart from himself. This is a typical problem, because if you look at, particularly for entrepreneurs, even if you look at any large company where a leader has been in place for 3 to 4 years, you can take one thing for granted. If the organization has a strong culture and a good culture, the leader must take some part of the credit. If the organization has cultural problems, a part of it is due to behaviors that the leader is doing himself. Either there are things that he is actively doing, or there are just things that he is not actively discouraging. So it's either actively or passively. A leader is often a part of the problem. Now there are 2 simple kind of ideas I want to give you related to this. The first is what I call the transparency index. Supposing you go to an organization and you go to the CEO and you say, okay, how much of your subordinates' problems do you understand? He says 70%. Then you go to the next line and you say, how much of your subordinates' problems do you understand? He says 80%. You go to the next line. How much of your subordinates' problems do you understand? And he says 50%. So you have one multiple. This is 70 into 80 into 50. Now, you go to the second line and say, how much of your problems does the CEO understand? You get 1%. You go to the second line, you say, how much of your problems does your next leader understand? The difference between the two is the organization's transparency index. It's often a wake-up call. The second thing is, there are many leaders who say, I'm approachable, I'm very open. I have a very simple definition of approachability, which I think is one thing that if you can take away from this, it's a useful thing, simple thing. If people approach you, you are approachable. If they don't, you are not. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Because if you claim to be approachable, everybody has problems. People will come to your cabin. If they're not coming, you're not approachable. Okay, I had videos, but I think I'm just going to skip because, just moving is... Okay, the second thing. When you announce a change initiative, you will find 2 types of second-line managers. There are people who argue with you and who tell you what the problems are. And there are people who tell you everything is fine, we will do it. Often the most dangerous people in a change initiative are the yes men at the second level. Because they are the guys who want to resist, but they don't want to tell you that they are resisting. They are invested in the status quo, but they appear to go along. So this is the second dimension. And they are the people who will jump on the bandwagon when they see a slightest sign that something is not working. I had a nice video which I'm not going to play, but essentially it shows a guy putting his hands up as he crosses the finishing line, and as he's putting his hands up, another bike crosses him. The point about this is very simple. When you run a change initiative, typically there's a big hoo-ha, right? You do a vision mission, you get people into a room, you all have a slogan, you chant it out, and in 6 months you get some small results, and you start to celebrate. Next quarter, the first bad quarter hits. Everything goes in reverse. Change management in an organization is at least a 2-3 year game. Celebrating too early is one of the big problems. Okay, I don't need to explain this visual. That's Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar and Greg Chappell. Okay, so one of the big things that happens in leadership is you have an initiative, the leader is a big part, there are 10 people driving the change, 3 of those people get changed, suddenly the people with the hidden agenda come on top. And I'm talking to practicing executives, at least 10 of you easily would have experienced this. Actually happening in practice? Okay. Finally, I promised you research, so I'm going to talk about research. So unfortunately, we choose to do a lot of this research with small children. Okay. So 2 groups of small children, and each of them is given a choice between a bowl of cookies and a bowl of radishes. One group of kids is said, you have to have the chocolate chip cookies and you can look at the radishes. Sounds pretty easy. The other group of kids, and this is where, there should be a law against cruelty in human experiments, they are told to eat the radishes and look at the cookies. Now this is over. So now you have a cookies group and a radishes group. Now what you do is you go to these guys and you give them an impossible math problem to solve. And what you really want to know is who persists longer. What do you think you find? Who gives up quickly? Cookies? Cookies, radishes, hands for cookies? Okay, so the right answer is cookies. The right answer is the radishes group are the guy who gives up quickly. The cookies guy persists longer. Why? If you are eating radishes and looking at cookies, you are draining your willpower. The guys who are eating cookies, their willpower is still high, their energy is still high. The willpower of the human being is a finite resource. So everybody here has tried to go for, I salute guys like Sanjoy, but we've all tried to go on a diet at least once. Mark Twain said getting rid of cigarette smoking is the easiest thing on earth. I've done it 40 times already. So the point is that we commit to change, but we are creatures of habit. And when we are under stress, emotion takes over. So any change management initiative which is purely rational and does not take account of the fact that when we are vulnerable, when we are emotional, when we are insecure, we revert to tried and tested patterns of behavior, that is likely to be doomed to failure. So I've just kind of set the context. What I'm going to do now, we don't have answers. There is no one panacea. I'm just going to talk about 3 dimensions of solutions and give examples and stories to substantiate, and Vandana will give me a 5-minute heads up,